So,
Yeah.
so welcome, Karen, for sharing your expertise with us this morning around artificial intelligence and how we can use it in our everyday business, whether it's, what some ladies have done, written a poem with it about what it is that they do, or to gather together, blogs, or just inspiration for life. So can we put our hands together for Karen and her dog, who are going to inspire us this morning? Over to you, Karen.
Oh God, I don't know how this came about, because I would not call myself an expert on artificial intelligence by any stretch of the imagination. But what I do know is randomly I got access to chat GDP thingy-majiggy, whatever it wants to call itself, and had a play with it, and it was just like, oh, this is fun. There's a lot of things you can do with this. And it was just experimenting with it. I think this is one of the things you have to do if you can get onto chat GDP thingy, whatever it's called itself. Just have a play with it, because it can do so much, and it does it in front of your eyes, and it is just so powerful. But as everybody else has said, it does not replace the human element. So in the same way as, there are some people who create what they call private label rights articles, and you buy the articles, 50 or 60 or 100 people have got the same articles. So what you have to do is rewrite them and just use them as a first draft. You can do the same thing with chat GDP thingy-majiggy. And I will remember at the end what the thing is, which, if I knew what the actual acronym was, I could remember it, but it was just crazy. So I've put the link to the one I've got at the moment. I applied for it ages ago and was just apparently put on a waiting list, but randomly applied for it from somebody else's link and got straight in there. So I don't know if there's still a waiting list for it. So just try the link and see how you get on, and see if you can sign in. So I think the best thing to do is just have a bit of a play, because this is where you can actually see what it can do, and just have a bit of fun with it. For me, yes, I can get it to do some of my chapters, but it will be like a first draft. So for example, sometimes I find it easier to actually write a book by talking, and I will get chatting with people around stuff, and I will make notes about it, and I'll record it, and then I'll transcribe it. So this is just like an introduction to it. Okay, so can I share my screen at all, Cheryl?
To the multiples.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. So this is Chat GPT, and if I work out what it stands for, it'd be great. So it could be that you call it great part-time, or whatever you want it to do to remember the acronym, but this is what it is. So this is just one example of an artificial intelligence driven application, website, whatever. It does an awful lot of things. It's a bit like that thing that Google has, Ask Alexa or something. So it's just has very similar things. It has a very simple thing in there, and basically you just create a new chat. Okay, and you can see it down the bottom here, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to ask a question. So it could be that you want me to create something. So I'm going to just type it in, and we're going to just have a bit of a play. So what would you like me to create? Would you like me to create a quick blog post on a specific subject? What would you like to test it with?
Is water good for you?
Okay. Right, so actually, Okay, so I'm asking it to create a blog post rather than just answering the question, because it could be a yes, no answer. So let's have a look. And there you go, it's off and running. So, and this is the thing, this is how quick it can be. And this is what blows my mind. So there you go. So in a few seconds, it's created that much content. So there's what, about 500 or 600 words in there for a blog post. So it's got the introduction, it's got the middle, it's got the ending in there. So it's got a summary in there. And if you don't like it, you can go and regenerate a response. And again, it will just think about it and create something else.
Can it do SEO?
It's not, what do you think in terms of?
So say, for example, you had to write so Bano isn't online here today, or so say, for example, Ellen wanted to SEO an article about well, water or any kind of food or any kind of technique.
I think it's one of those things where you'd have to be very careful about what the question is that you ask.
Right.
So, I mean, as I say, this is not something I'm an expert on. I've just played around with it, but it's like everything. To get the right answer, you have to ask the right question.
Right.
So it could be that you do a search for what are the main keywords for a specific subject. Or you can have a look at, it's one of those things. I'm not sure, to be honest. I it's not something I played with, but it is not Google. So it's not about search engine optimization. This is a different thing altogether. This one can create content, whereas Google is a search engine. So the two things are very, very different, although there is going to be an overlap at some point. But if you wanted it to write an essay on Henry VIII and his 6 wives, covering certain points, it could certainly do that. But it's like everything. It's one of those things where you really have to play around with it. So you can see this is generating different content, and it's similar stuff, but writing it in a different way. So one of the things that I asked it to do was to create a humorous sales page for me for a website. And I'll show you what it did with that one in a second. So, because this is still waiting. But it goes back to getting very clear about the question is. So for search engine optimization, that's going to be, each different website is going to be different because you've got different content on there, but you also got different target audience. So it could write an essay on search engine optimization, or you could ask, how could I improve the search engine optimization for a specific domain? And we could try that and see what it comes up with.
Have you checked it to see how much it knows about you, Karen?
No. Because how could it know about me? Because Karen Brown is a common name. There's bound to be more than one person with my date of birth. And really, I don't want to know. At what point does it stop? I mean, we could do a Cheryl Bass one. What do you know about Cheryl Bass and Iron Woman?
Yeah, it's interesting, to work out what's out there, isn't it?
Okay, so let's have a quick look. So I'm going to go down to the bottom here and.
Scary, isn't it?
Oh. Let's just see if if it finds anything just from that basic. So no. Bass based.
If you put I am woman in, just create a blog post about I am woman.
No.
No, they won't.
No. So okay, so if we do right, so give me something else then, because we're just going to play with this, because as I say, I've just been playing it and I've just been creating basic content for that. So if I wanted to
what about mortgages?
Right, okay, so what in terms of mortgages?
Yeah, write a blog about mortgages or different types of mortgages.
You could ask it at the end of the question, taking into account SEO for the keywords, equity release or something like that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, I think you need to ask it about SEO. You need to use the term SEO for it with SEO.
Something like that.
Yeah.
This is where you've got to play, because
No, it doesn't like that, does it? Okay.
all right, let's just
You take out the specific reference to equity. So from the comma and then up to.
Let me just start a new chat, because I think it's getting confused.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess maybe once it's had one error, then that's it. It has lots.
Well, it could be that it was thinking about, you've been asking me about this question and now you've gone in this different direction, but it could also, there you go. Everything you wanted to know about mortgages, but we're afraid to ask. So you can see at the bottom there.
Wow, it's actually chosen what the SEO keywords are. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
And do you know if you can edit these blogs that you've generated?
Well, all you do is copy and paste it, and then you
And
just.
oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I've got a big document where I sort of started doing stuff and just copied and pasted it into a big document where it was just like, you know, give me a list of like 100 motivational quotes or 350 tips for search engine optimization, because there is let's have a look. So create a list of 50 tips for okay. So if I wanted to write a book around promoting your book, and I could, you know, you could do 365 tips for promoting your book or 365 ideas for promoting your book, and it could create 7 different lists for you, and then you've got almost, there you go, you've got 50 tips for promoting your book.
Wow.
So if you use this as a list, then if you're writing a book, those are just your headings. So you just say more. So you could then create a blog post, say, write me a blog post entitled "How to Build a Strong Online Presence" using that. So it's possible to do that.
You know, because LinkedIn love the, you know, so many tips, don't they?
Yeah.
Of whatever, you know. So every day when we're thinking, well, what content shall I do today? You could just pick a sentence, couldn't you, and away to go.
Well, you could go further, because you can ask the 50 tips, copy and paste them into a Word document, and then ask it to create a blog post on each of those different tips. And then you rewrite it, and then you've got a year's content.
Wow. I'd lose
So,
to live by the time I got to 50.
well, the thing is, you've got this thing of number 12, offer book club discussion guides for free. So you could do, create me a discussion guide for a book club. What should it include? Those sort of things. So you can see it's quite a lot of stuff in there, and it hasn't stopped, because sometimes I wonder if it runs out of ideas, but it's still going.
So could it develop like a handbook? So say, for example, with our website, Wonder Woman, obviously on her website has a link to digital marketing strategy. So could you ask it, please, can you create a digital marketing strategy for me? So
Or what? But this is where you have to be specific. So a digital marketing strategy for
a dog groomers.
Okay. Okay, so let's do a new chat.
Oh, because we don't have a dog groomers, why not photographers? We have 2 photographers. So a digital marketing strategy for a photographer.
Let's see if I can type. Portraits. Okay, is that spelled correctly?
Yeah, specializing's wrong though. Oh.
It's corrected me. There you go.
Wow.
What do I say? Email marketing.
It's a good start, isn't it?
Yeah. But this is it. It is a starting point. And that's what you have to use it for. Because, as you say, if people keep asking the same questions, they're going to get similar answers, because that's what it's going to do. But if you use it as a starting point for something, get lists created, it can give you ideas. So it gave me so many different ideas of stuff, and I've actually got it to create a sort of list of chapters for a book on something else. So it gave me the whole structure of a book. Wasn't a book I was going to write, but it was interesting to do. But it's just fun. It's one thing that you just have to play with and see what it can do. Okay. So
should we take questions from others, Karen? Or do you want to elaborate a bit more about what else you've used it for?
I haven't, this is the thing, I haven't used it an awful lot, because for me, you cannot replace the personal element. And if I use it, I use it as a starting point. But if I'm writing stories, My story is about what's happening in my life. And the way, you know, with Steffi yesterday, you know, all her content in social media was around the awards. And you're not going to get that on here, because it's all generated by her. It's all about her. It's very specific. And I think this is the thing that marketing is going to change, where it's going to be more focused on human stuff, because we can see all the auto-generated stuff and we get bored by it. We want the human element. We want the stories around how we got there, as opposed to this is what you're supposed to do. So it sort of tells you a strategy, doesn't tell you why you should do it. It doesn't tell you how to define your target audience or why you should do that. But it just tells you the basics. So it is a starting point. But for me, it doesn't replace the personal element. And this is what I found with an awful lot of copywriters. Their content is getting better because it's forcing them to be more original and be more authentic. And I think this is going to be the thing that we see changing, is it's going to be our stories, not not artificial stuff like this.
And also it's just telling you what it knows, as opposed to looking broadly at almost like other people, or very specialists that are out there, or key material. Does can it give you research statistics?
Let's ask it. What are you thinking?
Well, just say, for example, how many female entrepreneurs are there in the UK?
You've broken it. Ooh. So it couldn't answer the question, but it gave you an answer anyway.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's good that it knew where the information was held.
But also that it wasn't up to date, because the chat GDPT, whatever it is, GPT, it's only up to date as far as 2021, and it says that right at the beginning, that's what it is, because anything since then it doesn't have the information on. So, for example, it won't be able to tell you who the Oscar winners are for the 2023 Oscars, but it would do for the 2020 Oscars.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm hogging news. I'm aware I'm hogging you because I'm so excited about it. So please, if you have any questions, please ask Karen. There's bound to be other people with questions.
Or not.
Can you see anyone's got their hand up, Karen?
I can't see anybody with their hand up because I've got the limited view on my side. Does anybody want to try something else? I mean, this is the thing. I'm not an expert in this area. I've just been playing with it and I've just been having a lot of fun with it. So I have got it to create me a sort of a chapter for a book. But as I say, it's just the basic stuff. So let's have a look. So for me, it would be and this is where the thing is just white on white.
Oh, it's crazy, isn't it? It's amazing.
So it's just about you thinking in terms of how you can use it yourself.
Yeah.
And this is where, because you've got developed characters, then you need to go back and re-specify that it's for a non-fiction rather than fiction book. But it's got things like getting pen and paper, you know. Whereas what I would do is very different, because one thing it doesn't address, for example, is mindset.
Yeah.
You know. So yes, I would include research. Yes, I would include identify your author. A lot of that is in relation to fiction rather than non-fiction. Yes, I would say setting goals. But mindset for authors is a big one, and it's just not taking that in there because it's not something that people talk about as much.
Can you put that in the chat box again? Say, what about mindset for authors? So you find out what's missing and see what they've got to say about it.
Okay, so I'm just going to edit that one. So we're going to do non-fiction. So you can see that it's included stuff around mindset in it, and it's got back growth mindset in there.
Yeah.
So let's have a change it. And this is where the answers can provide more questions that you can ask to go deeper.
That's great.
Okay, I'm going to be cheeky and see if it can do more. So I'm going to change that from 10 things to 15 things. There you go.
Incredible.
So it kind of goes a bit deeper, but it's quite honest.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I did which is quite good fun. Okay, right.
Okay. I'm just watching the time, Karen. So can we
I'm going to stop sharing.
if we can hook into where people are at and explore how they would be interested in taking this forward. So we'll start with you, Steffi. You're the top of the screen here. So what are your thoughts? How could you use this in your business?
I will use it only by following people who are already knowing what they're doing, because I think if I use it just randomly, it won't be specific enough, good enough, or different enough to other people. So I've started following a few people that give you tips, show you how to frame, how to use it to your best advantage, just to get tips from them. Because if I just do it, I will just go under with the same message that everybody else is posting, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. What about you, Miriam?
Sorry, I was on mute. I don't know. I think, I think it's got it will have a really good basis for me describing things, and then I'll always change it anyway. I've had a quick little play with some of the art, and I find it a little bit flat, if I'm honest. So I think there's a place for it, definitely, but I don't know. For art, I don't think I'll be using it because I don't think it's got the oomph factor that I like to create. But for speech and maybe articles and things, it might be quite useful.
It could be as well. It could help you write a blog talking about why doing art perhaps when you're depressed or down or sad, the benefits it could, it could just information like that you can tweak then as you go along.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I think it's horses for courses with it, really, isn't it? So coming to you, Lucy, what are your thoughts with regards to it sort of giving you loads and loads of data around mortgages and
Yes, it's really interesting, but yeah, again, it's putting your own, making it a little bit more personal, because what I worry is that if I'm trying to increase like my SEO, that other brokers could have potentially done this and other websites could still have this information. But yeah, it gives you a bit of a tool of what sort of conversations that they're picking up on. But yeah, it's really good, which I'll probably use it. But yeah, put it in my own words as well.
Great, thank you. And Lisa, how would you use it? You're on mute, Lisa.
When I was looking at things last week, I really struggle with copy and writing and things like that. So I always struggle, like when I'm doing sales pages, to find like the benefits and all that type of stuff. So I was typing in things like that, like what are the benefits of having your own website and in business and that types of things. Because then, like Karen said, you can expand on that then and write that into your own words type thing. So that's what I was looking at last week. So I think more of that type of thing. But yeah, I think that all of this has answered my thing about the blog post duplicate content thing as well. So something to be aware of as well. So yeah, thank you. Very interesting.
And Ellen, how might you use it?
I'm still trying to get my head around it, really, how it differs from Google, I think I'm just thinking, would it be helpful with social media posts when you're kind of running out of ideas for reels and stuff? If you could come up with ideas and topics around your subject, I don't know. I'm still, it's so fresh and new for me. I'm thinking, isn't this kind of Google, but then not? I don't know. Yeah, at the moment, it's a bit need to play with it, I think. Have a play, understand it better.
I suppose for me, see, my understanding of this compared to Google is that Google just gives you lists of stuff, whereas this creates order in the content for you to work with. So say, for example, just recently, I've learned that the word healing means completeness. Yeah. So it'd be so nice just to ask something like this, please, can you define the word "de"? And it gives you the content as opposed to sending you all over the place where you've got to check it out with about 10 people. So I just can't wait to get online and start playing with it. I don't think I'll sleep tonight. So over to you, Yvonne. How might you use it?
Well, I just used it just to generate lots of different ideas of starting points for blogs for my website and just different things. While I was loading, I did ask it for a poem about teens, and it's just come up with a funny poem about teens. So that might be something that will just, not all of it, but there are certain little bits in there that are just quite funny little, perhaps taglines that you could just use.
Right, can you share that with us? Have you got it?
Let me have a look, see if I can get that. Hang on.
We'll come back to you. We'll come.
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay.
It says, teens, oh teens, so full of life, navigating this world through all the strife. They're a curious bunch with so much to learn, trying to find their way with each twist and turn. They crave independence and freedom to explore, pushing boundaries, always wanting more. Their minds are open with ideas so bold, creating new paths as they break the mold. Emotions run high as hormones rage, dealing with heartache and all of its pain, but they keep on going with resilience and might through every challenge they hold on tight. They're forging their identity, finding their voice, making choices that shape their future with poise. And although they may falter and sometimes stumble, their spirit is unbreakable and they never crumble. So let us celebrate these teens so bright as they navigate this world and take flight, for they are our future with endless possibility. And with them at the helm, we can all achieve infinity.
Oh, that's good, isn't it? It's really good. We'd all be writing poetry books.
Fab.
Incredible. Over to you, Rachel. How might you take this forward?
I don't know. It's just being aware of it, isn't it? I mean, there's no denying that it is very clever. And as time goes by, there'll be updates, more generations, and it'll keep getting smarter and smarter as well, which is fabulous. So yeah, I acknowledge that it's clever. I think we all have to acknowledge that it's going to be useful to us for cheating, because that's what it is at the moment. It's a little bit of a cheat. It's a way to obtain data without applying ourselves too much. But ultimately, I think for the moment, it needs to be treated with caution.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Word of warning, health warning, health warning. Thank you. And coming to you, Lorna, last but not least.
I think it's a tool. It's here to stay. It's going to get smarter and smarter. I think with regards to what we can get out of it, I think a lot of it is about what we put into it. So maybe rather than asking questions simply, maybe when we put the question in or the information we want, we have to be creative in order to get more and more original response. So that would be the one thing that's resonating with me today. If we all ask the same question, yes, we're all going to duplicate. So really, we need to personalize as much as we can the prompts that we put in. But for me, yes, it's a tool. It's inspirational, and we all add our own touch. So yeah.
And as Karen was showing, we can just keep drilling down and drilling down and drilling down.
Yeah, I just think it's great when you've got a day and you want to put something up and you've got a complete mental block. Fabulous. Tap away, it'll throw something out, take it, mold it, post it. Great. That's how I see it.
Fantastic. So back to you, Karen, for the final word.
I just just for the sheer heck of it, typed in how does it define a woman, because there's just such a thing in there. And I'm just going to show you the screen just to see what it says, because it's just perfect, really. It's just saying, as an AI language model, I don't have personal beliefs, and my responses are based on programming and training. However, traditionally, a woman is defined as an adult human who identifies as female or is biologically female, typically characterized by having 2 X chromosomes, a female reproductive system, and typically developing breasts and wider hips than males. However, it is essential to note that gender identity is a personal and subjective experience, and not all individuals who identify as women may conform to different traditional biological or social expectations. It is crucial to respect individuals' gender identity and their right to self-identity. So that is from a computer, basically telling us that we have to basically respect everybody's beliefs, which is fair enough, I suppose. It's just one of those things where, it's changing, it's evolving, and in 2 years' time, it's going to be a totally different beast. But like everything, at the moment, it can't replace humans. But I do know I had a conversation with the Premium Bonds website. I went on the Premium Bonds website to find some information, and the person who was speaking to me, I wasn't sure if they were human or not human, to the point where I realized that they weren't, but they did sound human. And it was just a really surreal experience. But this is where we're heading, where because there are so many answers that are routine, that they can actually generate the answers to the questions. So it's one of those things just to be careful of. But you cannot replace the human thing. And if it comes to marketing, use it for ideas, but remember, you can't replace the human being. And if you start telling stories, then that's what's going to make you unique in the future.
Thank you, Karen. You've been absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing your talent with us. So, Karen, if you can stay live, because I've got sort of funny things happening, probably because I've shared my screen with you. So if you can stay live right until the end, because I need to capture the recording. So I just want to thank you all for turning up this morning and sharing your expertise with us. Next week, we have this amazing lady coming to us, and it's going all funny, it's going online, sharing with us how we can write an advert in a magazine, because I know some of you, it's going all ghosty online. Anyway, some of you will be taking up the offer that Very Life have given us for them to give us a third of a page, normally 225, and they're giving us a third of a page for 175. So next week, Jen is going to be coming online and showing you how you should write an advert for a magazine. And bearing in mind, this is, one of the luxury brand magazines. Again, how she would help you shape a message that's going out to a target audience that is a luxury brand, and the kind of photographs to use that ideally work in a magazine like that. So even if you're not going to be part of the magical 11, because we need 11 people to make it work, and I'm sure we'll hit our 11 because it's such an amazing offer. Even if you're not part of that 11, it's a great exercise for you to learn how to build an advert that's going to go into, a luxury brand magazine, or even going on to a luxury blog site page, or within any kind of shop that is targeting sort of luxury brand clients. So Jennifer's coming along and sharing her expertise in how to do an advert. Are there any questions on that? Because I know Miriam had some questions around pricing and all sorts of stuff like that. Are there any questions on it before we split, or is it all quite clear? I know, Yvonne, it's attractive to you, isn't it? So why would it be attractive to you, Yvonne, sort of looking at your brand? And
well, it's attractive. I'm not sure that I will go with it, because I've done similar things in Monmouth Life and things like that, and I don't know, mixed responses. But maybe it's just because I think it's what you're offering. I think you've got to carefully think about what you offer and
Yeah.
what the readership is looking for to see if there's a match.
And the beauty of this, they've also got an online magazine as well. So not only do we go into a paper magazine, we actually go into their online version as well. So she'll be coming along next week to help us write an advert. So have a great day ahead, everyone, and look forward to catching up with you same time, same place next Monday. Have a great week. Bye-bye now. Bye.